for our company. So I would like to say the first thing is we are the first to adopt. We are the first to adopt the, probably we were earlier to realize that shutdown is going to happen. And probably I believe I can take the credit even before the government announced the lockdown 2-3 days back, we kind of packed out of HTIC and started to work from home. So that was one thing. And next topic I would like to cover about how our daily routine changed because of work from home. That's another topic I would be covering. And I will also try to speak about how our product delivery mechanism, customer engagement, and customer management changed, or how we adapted to the new situation. And as any other healthcare company would, we also added some COVID-19 specific product improvement. And finally, I would also like to discuss about long and short term of this new normal moving forward. So early to realize, and we were the first probably to adopt some changes. I mean, if you had seen our people working in our office, most of us, we used to have a desktop with multiple monitors. So we made sure that all our colleagues got a laptop, a decent one, and if possible, additional monitors also. And we also kind of tried to ensure that each and everyone had a broadband at home. People in Chennai, not much of a problem, but some of our colleagues went to their native, and broadband was an issue there, and we had some difficulty, and then we had to do certain things to get it done. And in the middle, we also took most of the medical devices and other accessories back home for us to work. And then, for the first 1 week, we found it extremely difficult. I mean, as Muthu sir was telling, it was initially depressing. Nobody knew what to do, how to kind of immediately adopt. It was a very difficult time for the first 1 week, but we kind of pitched in, and thanks to my colleagues, I mean, everyone cooperated and we were able to adopt certain changes. So, I mean, I'm sure most of us are already using WhatsApp, even before this pandemic or even before this lockdown. I'm sure most of our people are either using Slack or WhatsApp or some other thing to share the daily workflow. So apart from sharing this daily workflow, our team has a daily procedure, like early in the morning. This is even before the lockdown, okay? Early in the morning, as soon as they come to office, they have, all our colleagues kind of punch in what is their daily plan, what they are going to do on that particular day. And while going back from office, they will reply to that same WhatsApp message that they had sent in the morning, and they will say how they did it, what all problems they faced, and also they have to tell how many hours they spent. So this was a routine that I kind of cultivated right from the beginning of our company. I mean, all the colleagues need to do this. So when we moved to work from home, what happened was, people started giving this message, like 10:30, 11:30. Then I realized that most of us kind of started getting up only at 10 o'clock, and most of us started getting up at 11 o'clock. I mean, that also included me. So, then, it was very tough. I mean, just because you are working from home, you cannot get up at 10 or 11 o'clock and then say you are working from home, right? So we decided that by 9 a.m., everyone should get together in Google Meet, and then discuss for at least 15 to 20 minutes together on what to do. So that kind of pumped in some new energy, get up in the morning, at least get up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock for work from home to begin at 9 o'clock. So we started leveraging Google Meet, and also we started using Jamboard. Jamboard is a whiteboard provided by Google, where people can share. So that is a wonderful thing. So we started using these technologies to make sure our productivity on a day-to-day basis is good. On the product delivery side and also customer management side, Just before the lockdown, almost all our team members are we're in Bangalore and also in Hyderabad running pre-sales trial run for some major hospitals, 2-3 hospitals. So we were all of a sudden, we moved to Chennai, and then we really didn't knew how to, even further engage with current customers and also the new customers, because our product was a B2B business and everything was like hands-on. You have to go to the hospital, make sure your product is demoed and the training is conducted. So we felt like, we couldn't do anything. I mean, that kind of forced us to come up with a very extensive, very meaningful video tutorial of our product. So, we took substantial amount of effort. 2-3 days, we all continuously sat and then tried to come up with this video tutorial, which is a full-fledged demo of our product. So we started sharing that with our current customers for training and also new customers as a product demo. So that became a wonderful thing, as a kind of introduction to our product. So, and this particular content was not hosted on YouTube. It was all hosted on a certain content protected streaming website, where we can also track who saw it, when they saw it, and all those things. So we created that video tutorial. And then we came up with very extensive detailed documentation on the product. We never worried about documentation as in like how to set up the product, how to, because we used to go to the hospital and do everything ourselves, set up the network in the hospital, set up the server, set up the medical devices, and all those things we used to do even within the ICU. That was our, the pre-sales routine. Now we came up with this extensive and explanatory document that we started sharing with potential customers. And now what happened is all those hospitals were able to do the setup themselves, looking at the video tutorial and the documentation. So what happened was all our very expensive pre-sales trial engagement that was our normal strategy before COVID-19 kind of completely changed right now. Our cost got reduced and we were able to successfully do 2 to 3 pre-sales trial run with major hospitals in Bangalore and also one in Jaipur and a couple of hospitals in UAE. All these things we were able to do, thanks to COVID-19. We were able to change the strategy a little bit and we were able to do all these things. And we started having WhatsApp group for customers. So I would say that, we kind of made the situation in our favor and we were able to achieve certain amount of product delivery and also customer engagement. And then the other thing that we focused on was COVID-19 specific product improvement. If you see almost all healthcare companies, right, from Philips to GE or anybody, they are all talking about COVID-19 specific product offerings. So since we are a healthcare IT company and we are specifically focusing on intensive care units where we are connecting or fetching data from ventilators and other stuff, we added certain modules for COVID-19 specific, specific features. Even our current customers started using our product for COVID-19 monitoring COVID-19 patients. So we started learning from it, and then we understood what more need to be done, and we added those specific features. And then we also tried to market our product leveraging the COVID-19. We conducted one webinar, announced a webinar, and did a 1-hour webinar where quite a few people from multiple hospitals participated, and we are planning to do more of such kind of webinars so that we can continue to do our marketing and use COVID-19 as a kind of a marketing bit to kind of expand ourselves. That we are doing. So now moving forward, it's like, is this going to be the new normal? We don't know. But looks like, at least from the short-term, long-term perspective, I personally don't think that we can go to a normal office for at least another 3 to 4 months. We don't know. So work from home has definitely improved our overall productivity. I mean, I didn't realize that, we all can work from home and still can be productive or as productive or even more productive as coming to a normal office. And I'm very certain, as a founder and the person who is managing the company right now, that we will certainly allow as many of our colleagues to work from home, even if the lockdown is relaxed. So that is for sure going to happen. And then certainly we need to continue our customer side deployment and visits that are going to be must. And then, since we are all in health tech, we are not pure software company as such, right? So we always work with certain medical devices, some other expensive equipments. So it is little difficult to kind of share this, or if you need to have a collaboratory work on that particular equipment, that becomes a little difficult for when you're working from home. But I'm sure we will be able to find a way to do all those things. And Twitter recently, yesterday, Twitter announced that all their employees can work from home forever. So probably this is what is going to be a new normal, and I believe we all should leverage this. I think. Okay. I am done. Do you have any specific question?
Jaikan, there are some questions in the chat.
I'm just looking at C3 Med, requesting you to share content protection streaming. The content protection streaming is this. I will share it to you right away. After analyzing quite a few, I found this particular website to be really good. So the second question is, as you mentioned about hospitals setting up your product after looking at the demo video, what is the setup by the doctors themselves or by? Oh, okay. So our product requires the hospital's IT team, the biomed team to get involved to actually set up the product. So the doctors kind of decide that the product needs to be set up. So we have a document which elaborates the server setting and how the devices needs to be connected. So their hospital IT team and the biomed team get together and they do the setup, and then they have a handover procedure to us remotely, and then we go and install our software and then do other settings entirely completely remotely. Hope I answered your question. I'll be glad to take further questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, Jaikan, because after Rahul does it, we'll have a group discussion on everything.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Because let's not keep it only stringent questions. We'll also have a free flow discussion.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay.
So thank you so much, sir. Now I welcome Mr. Rahul to share his experience on COVID-19.
Hello. Can everyone hear
hi,
me?
Rahul.
Yeah, hello. So
sorry,
joining in this, there was some issues for me to connect to Google Meets. So first of all, it's nice to talk to all of you. So I had, when the concept of this digital cafe mail came to me, I was very interested. I think it's very nice of the team to put up something like this so we can all catch up. And I see many of the familiar faces as icons on my computer. Yeah. So one thing from our team's perspective, we to first I'll introduce to the people who do not know me. We run a company in virtual and augmented reality where we build solutions for healthcare and industrial training segments. So So being a digital solution in itself, we were not really hit by any face-to-face people communication issues in our product development or deployment issues. So one thing was we all work in computers, and so that made it easier. But what we were able to see in our segment was the work from home has made we've needed to become much more clearer in whatever communications we have with development, or it is sales, or it is testing. We've required to hone and tune our communication skills much more, because we are not having the advantage of seeing the person in person directly. That is one thing. And the other thing what I've seen from my perspective, from a sales perspective, is I've had a lot of time to talk to the key decision makers, since I believe they are more available now in this scenario. People are giving more meetings, more time to speak to new ventures, new opportunities, or new solutions. They're open to hear at this time. So this makes the availability of people much higher than a normal work scenario, where we would have people fix their calendars in all sorts of traveling and meeting people in different locations. That's one thing where I've been and this other thing we've found an advantage is this kind of brings the whole global village to concept very close. Since I've attended webinars and seminars with the folks at Boston and certain universities over there, and there's no difference between me sitting here in Chennai and attending that and anyone sitting in Boston or in London, for that say, because everyone's working remotely and everyone's going to connect through a remote platform. So the differences have been greatly reduced. So the opportunities have greatly increased, I can say, in that sense, that you can compete with anybody at any place, and this makes the playing field very level and removes the boundaries of location-based competition in that sense. So the other thing we've seen is I've personally in Bazak, since we've sticked on to the solution and the product line we are building, and as well as we've seen a increase in requirement and spike in digital solutions, where people are willing more to adopt to virtual and augmented solutions, both in healthcare and in the industrial segments, where we've had requests and we've had a increase in requests. But whether they will be converting to the whole sales cycle is we're looking at it. But we're surely positive about the way people have adopted to this virtual working. And this brings to the concept that do people nearly even need to go to offices? That's something I don't know. But from my team's perspective, I can say that we were very quick to adopt. We were the ones who took off March 17, I believe. Before the lockdown was there, we had everyone at home with the PCs because we wanted to establish the network connectivity by then. And then certainly it was very difficult in the first 2 weeks, where we had to establish very robust communication methods, where people had no confusion about what we were speaking. Initially, there was a lot of problems. But then with the client ends also, people have understood that people can't come to the site and deploy any solution, and they are okay and they are accepting the method of digital deployment of software solutions and virtual solutions to them. And this has allowed us to drastically reduce my visits to the customer end. Like one of my customers is in Delhi and in UP, and I've required to travel very often, like twice a month to Delhi. So this has greatly reduced, and I've been able to and delivery of solutions over Zoom calls and Microsoft Team meetings. So that is something that is very interesting, and that certainly saves a lot of time where we have to travel and go and meet the people in person. The other thing I have found is, as I mentioned, the availability of the decision makers, which I have found very interesting. Whether it is certain VCs who have initially approached us, or certain other clients we have tried to push the concepts to them. Even though the budgets of buying capacity of hospitals, the various industries is something up for discussion, but at the level of a validation and a proof of concept and a clinical trial thing, or a trial based solution, people have been more willing to look into ideas and meet with us and talk to us about these things. So from my team's perspective, I can definitely say this has opened us new avenues where we've been able to take outsourced employees working at remote location. Now we have a couple of them at Kanyakumari. I met them over video call, and we have given them some outsourced work. This would not have been possible in the real normal working situation, even though if the guy was really well to do and well established in his work, we would have wanted him to come to our office and work right next to us. But then this has given us a large scope to get more talent in that sense at lesser cost. And that has helped us a lot. That is something we are really positive. And this has allowed us to bring our operational budgets less. The major cost saving I have seen is my travel expenditures to different client sites to give demos, which have been reduced. So having said this, I would really be inclined to stick on to this as much as possible. So since it saves a lot of time and gives a lot of more productive hours in terms of any engagement for me, and as much as possible sticking to digital meetings gives me more access. And I think the whole concept of working at home is going to evolve into something more productive, where I can say for myself that from home I've been more productive, but maybe I've not been more collaborative with other people. But I personally could see a drastic improvement. Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about. Sir, anyone has any comments or questions on something I said?
So, Rahul, you mentioned that we don't need to go back to office again.
Yeah.
So how I also want to hear from the others on what they think about. I think for both the solutions that we had today, that is ZBliss and Bazaak, both of them are working on sort of a virtual platform, or that can be remotely deployed, doesn't really require human intervention. But I think on this call, we might also have people who require them to be physically present to make a sale or a demonstration. I want to also hear from them.
I see Kamalakannan has a question.
Please go ahead, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kamalakannan. Kamalakannan, sir, you can ask your question. I think you're on mute. Pratishtha, I think he's on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, now I got it. I
okay, great.
Yeah, because it was a full screen and I could not realize. Okay, sir. Now I want to put my opinion. Basically, in every company there is a business continuity plan is in place. Maybe it may not be applicable for small startups, but in general there is a business continuity plan is already in place. Now it is the mindset of the people. It is not because of COVID-19 we come to know a lot of things. Not like that. Basically, all the technologies for the collaboration, offline, online, is already available in the market. Now, it is a mindset that we need to change without looking for a situation like COVID. In general, if you have the mindset saying that something is possible with the available technology very well without much disruption. So this is what I feel. Today COVID, tomorrow some other things will come, and every day there will be new challenges. So it is the time for us, even for small organizations, to shape our business continuity plan in a very detailed manner, so that with the available technology, this can be addressed very easily. So the thing is, it is the change in the mindset that people who are having right now. If that is happening, I think even the worst situations then the COVID-19 can be really addressed.
Excuse me, what's the question, please?
I'm sharing my opinion here.
Oh, you said you had a question, that's why.
Yeah. I'm sharing my opinion and about the how to handle the present situation. That is what my intervention is aimed.
Okay.
Now the question, bottom line is, are we having the mindset for adopting this kind of changes already available and that is also established?
Okay. So that's very well put. I think as Mr. Kamalakannan has mentioned, the mindset of people, obviously that's a very good observation. Yeah, that I think there has been a change. People I've interacted with certainly at the industry level who have decision making. They've always had a aversion to adopt technology, or at their very close technology being very close to them, that I've seen. But now people have been put in a situation whether if you have to use technology to allow yourself to be more productive and more connected with people, and that mindset has allowed people like us to approach them and show our products to them. The other thing is, as you said, the organizations need to have a continuity plan, and a startup in itself is the whole concept is to keep evolving, and you always try to keep yourself afloat. So this situation has thrown another challenge across the all the challenges of economic, sales, and productivity challenges. We have a survival challenge, and I think as the only way you can come over this is through innovating and putting yourself in the situation where we've tried to find solutions to overcome this barriers of COVID. That's what I can say. Did I answer your question, sir? Correct.
Yeah. See, it's a kind of long-term discussion. There are a lot of what I want to insist is there is already a business continuity plan approach is there. If you are able to recall and devise our own business continuity plan, whether we are a startup or a big company or mid-level company, and definitely these kind of situations can be very well handled since the advancement of technology in the area of communication, collaboration, and streaming, and all those things. So we are well placed to handle the situation. This is what I want to insist. And of course, there is a shift change needed in the mindset, and that is already happening. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. So one more point I wanted to add here is, sir, I hope I'm not taking away a lot of time. So the recent, I think the changes that the central government has brought in, and especially the one that I noticed very positively, was the bracket where up to 200 crore the government tenders would be allocated only to the local and Indian suppliers. This is something that is a very welcome change, and I believe there should be even higher brackets that set for the products that are made in India to be incorporated by certainly, because they at many sectors, and certainly at healthcare, the government plays a major procurement role and a major buyer in this concept. And in the products we've seen the global competitors being very highly priced and still being very very well placed in taking up all these tenders, and many of the government institutions themselves have framed the specification of procurement to fit the bill of the foreign equipment. So it was a welcome change, and I hope it comes to practice where all these institutions start to buy up the products that are sold by and the services sold offered by the Indian and the Indian startup community and the Indian market in itself. That will bring in itself a huge change for all the companies, I believe, the Indian startups, I believe.
Okay, Rahul, very good. So I just want to ask, we have lots of people who are not actually from IIT Madras or HDIC. So maybe if you're not from HDIC or IIT Madras, can you just introduce yourself to get to know who you are? I mean, I know some of you, but maybe we can start off with, I see present CEOs there. Whoever, okay, Alan, you can also introduce yourself, whatever sort of group knows is people from outside are here.
Yeah. If you can just give me 5 minutes, I'm just...
Take 5 minutes, no problem.
Yeah, if someone else can go before me. Yeah.
Right. Who else is from outside? Maybe you can introduce yourself to us, please. Because I see quite a number of names I don't know, so must be from outside. While we wait for Dr. Allen to ask to introduce himself, do you guys, anyone has any other questions you'd like to talk about or anything? It's also free flow, so please go ahead and speak as you wish.
I have a question actually for the startups, if I can post it now.
Yeah, sure.
So what I wanted to ask the startups here is, what is the role of AI going to be in the days to come? How do you think it's going to shape up the future? Is it going to help? I think yes, but how is it going to help, and in what different cases would it help?
Yes, can I take that, Pratishtha?
Yeah, please
Anyone
go ahead.
can answer. Anyone who wants to answer, please, it's a free flow.
Yes, sir. So I believe not only AI, but all the technologies that are in the forefront, which we have talked for a lot of their time, that is the future. I think it's the present right now, where even if you see, like, all of us are connected over a virtual platform, talking to computers through the virtual collaborative tools, and there have been a lot of solutions. I've personally seen a lot of solutions that some other startups have built to help COVID in itself using this AI, and I think that AI is something inevitable and something that we will all see in different forms in different aspects of our life.
So I think
maybe you want him to respond. He's working with that sort of activity, right? He dropped out and we just got him. So maybe ask him the question.
Yeah. So just wanted to reiterate the question. What do you think the scope of AI would be, and how do you think it will help in scaling or supporting the startup in taking their solutions forward? I think Yash also had a...
Yeah, go for it.
Can I answer, or you are waiting?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yes, answer.
Yeah, okay. See, the answer is, all the technologies, especially AI or anything else, how we are going to adopt it for the betterment of the society. That is the only thing, I can put a similar example, how we are going to use the atomic energy, whether in the war front or for the welfare of the society, for constructing something positively. Also, this is also applicable to these AI, IoT, blockchain, and all. And this AI definitely, it's going to minimize a lot of the repeated works, and that is going to happen in the very soon. Now, it is the society should take it forward in the right spirit, because when we invented ATMs, we thought that the banker will lose the job. That is not the case. Now we are able to address many number of customers with this innovation. the innovation called ATM, and also the innovation like digitizing the banking framework in, with a lot of new technologies helped a lot of people to achieve a lot more in terms of transaction and all. So this same scenario is applicable to AI and any other feature technologies, and if it is utilized properly with a human face, or else something, I mean, everybody should have a mind that whatever I am going to adopt, it is going to serve the society, solve some purpose, solve some problem, and betterment, give betterment to the society. So this mindset is also important, and the availability of technology we can very well use for the betterment of the society. This
Yeah.
was my thought process and my belief in this area of
Yeah,
adopt new
yeah,
technology.
can go with it. Yeah, she's waiting.
Hello, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring light to the AI situation. So I think it will have a positive impact, but it will all depend on what kind of data we can get. So currently we are also planning to work something or collaborate with someone for an AI model, but the data which we are getting and the data which is supposed to be fed for machine learning and artificial intelligence, that will have a very big impact on the AI software giving a positive or a negative outcome.
Hmm.
Because just wanted to share an experience that every patient, if you go to an eye doctor, so when they take your image or when they do the diagnosis, a lot of the diagnosis depends on your history also, whether you have blood pressure, you have diabetes. So case to case, if the AI is not trained in a very varied way, or maybe with lots and lots of data points, it would be very difficult to execute maybe in
Correct.
a day-to-day module as well.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
Yash.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Alan,
think, yeah,
Dr.
Dr.
Alan.
Allen.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Doc.
Yeah, hello, this is Alan. I'm from Sri Ramchandra Institute in Chennai and represent our incubation center here. So we are fairly new to the Tamil Nadu cluster. We've just, been given seal of approval by the Bionist community. And having listened to most of the discussion that's gone on so far, yes, most of the AI based companies that were incubated in our center, they've been able to cope up pretty well because they can definitely work from home. But some of the incubatees also do a lot of wet lab work, and they've had a rough patch because, as you know, not much has happened. And so we are also eagerly awaiting some of the relaxations and social distancing norms that will definitely come in after this, to see how this is going to affect, let's say, non AI based and wet lab based work that is going to be taken forward. At present, currently, we have about 7 or 8 incubatees, of which six are totally in AI based, and two of them who are in wet lab, they are totally shut down. So we are also hoping to see that there'll be a change and we can kickstart it again. Yeah.
Just a follow up question. So, AI
Yeah.
has not been very well embraced by the clinical community earlier. Do you think there'll be some sort of a behavioral change?
Is this to me,
Yes.
Alan?
Yes,
Okay.
Doc.
I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a molecular
Okay.
biologist.
Okay.
But what I've seen in the last 2 years that I've been involved here is there's a lot of interest in AI. There's a lot of interest in AI, especially from the medical community, towards developing, simulation platforms, learning platforms, surgery, tools, surgical tools, things like that. So there's a lot of, even from the dental college, and from the dental side, from the pharmacological side, there's a lot of interest in AI. So I think it definitely adds a certain level of expertise that, probably we won't be able to do well without it, because it is part of life as you know now. But for proof of concept, it always has to go back to wet lab, and
Yes.
that's where we are having issues at the moment, because currently everything is on lockdown, and it's only COVID related diagnosis that's happening at our college. So yeah, that's where we have to wait and see.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, welcome.
Any other questions or any other introductions that you might want to make?
So if I can just ask, so this is something that happens every week from 4 to 5.
Yes, Doc.
This is the
Okay,
first
and
one.
this is the first one. Oh, wonderful. This is
Just
the
to
first one.
add,
Wonderful.
so Muthu sir came up with this idea like a couple of days back, and he was like, "Let's do this because everybody is moving digital. Let's have digital coffee," and that's how we started this Friday's session, hoping to continue.
Register, you're echoing.
Oh. Is it better now?
It's echoing. No, it's echoing only, Pratishta.
Maybe it is because of many people have
We
not
have this-
unmuted the mic.
Yeah, we have to switch off our mics. Yeah.
Yes, then this problem will be solved.
Register, what do you call?
Yes.
Let Crescent CEO introduce himself, please.
Yeah. Dr. Parvez?
Yeah. So good evening all. I am Parvez. I am the CEO of the Crescent Incubation Center. And we are one of the recently got the Bioness. And we are part of this community. So we have 36 startups, and around 21 are in the life science, and remaining around 15 are in the Industry 4.0. So we are associated with the Crescent University. So I'm very glad to be part of this community. I think Dr. Muthu is already leading this team in the forefront, and then we did one event recently. So we will keep moving ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Hope I'm not echoing now. I think it was because of the no muting thing. Just wanted to throw light on why we started this digital coffee. Like we said, when we were talking to a few people, Muthu sir found out that a lot of them had a lot of new ideas and insights that could be shared, and we didn't want to do something which was very structured. So he came up with this very simple, speak easy method where anybody can talk, share their inside experiences, and that's how we got this going this Friday. We're hoping to do this every Friday. People who would like to volunteer to share their insights, anything new that they would have learned, or they might have some challenges that they would have overcome the last 50 days of lockdown. Yes, we finished 50 days. Please feel free to reach out to the team, and we will set up, we will schedule it for every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. With that, any closing marks from Muthu sir?
No, I think let the two speakers. Where is our Jaigan? Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
Tell me.
Since you are the first ever speaker, I'm going to give you a chance to say your last word.
Okay, this is an awesome thing, and I have great appreciation to you and others in the team. So that's one thing. And I also appreciate other people who gave some other ideas, particularly I believe Kamala Kannan, and also the fellow speaker Rahul also was, talked about business continuity and other thing. I think as startups, we need to really focus, and I believe we need to bring in more discipline to be even more competitive and probably even more successful. So that discipline is more important, and then work from home actually demands a lot more discipline. So that is the point probably I want to emphasize. And definitely there are a lot of digital platform and other means to reach out to potential customers and also collaborate among the team. But we should be more disciplined. That's probably my last word.
Okay, very good. Anyone else has any other word to say? Rahul has dropped out, so I think if no one has anything to say, I'll hand it over to Prajister to wrap it up.
Sir, I just want to share only one thing,
Sure.
because I'm intervening in so many times. But
no problem. It's how we get this community to work, right? If nobody talks, then we sit here for 1 hour doing nothing. So please feel free.
Now, planning this online collaboration and doing work from home, there is another problem. Actually, every people think that in general, I'm not particularly saying anything. In general, the supervisor always want to micromanagement the team. This is where the problem starts. This is where we want the team to be assembled in a particular place, monitored closely, and interacted closely. I think if individuals can be given the responsibility and they are made responsible, and if you are able to shortcut this micromanagement thing to some extent, I think working from home and working in the office, both will be the same. I think ideally we should have this kind of practices in reality. Then this challenge can be easily addressed. This is an opinion I want to convey. Sure. I think I don't know whether others may dislike or disagree with this, but agenda is you make somebody responsible instead of monitoring them.
Yeah. See, end of the day, it's everything has got its good and bad. See, when we are in the office, we have hundreds of meetings. When we are working from home, the meetings are less people come into the room. So that's an advantage. But then when you're at home, you also get other disturbance. Somebody will come and say, hey, the floor has to be wiped. So what do? You can't argue because everybody is stuck here. So they are good and bad. So I think the best way to do this is people have to balance it out and see how productive they are. And personally, like I keep telling the team, it's really up to them whether they feel they're productive. You know, that's the best we can do.
Yeah. We can also have some volunteers for the next session today, or you guys can reach out to Harshini or me or anybody if you guys would like to volunteer. I can drop in my email here if you would like to volunteer to share your insights about how you're coping with COVID the last few weeks. With that, I think we can wrap it up. I'm just typing up my email. With that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We saw some good participation. We had quite a few people who came, shared their insights. So hoping to have digital coffees more often. Also to add that I actually had a cold coffee while this conversation was going on. So I actually felt like not just digital, but also a real coffee session. So thank you so much, everybody. Hope to see you guys again next Friday with more insights and with more learnings.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.